Hey there. This goes out to all 53 of my subscribers. I'm just here to tell you that I've been killing ants for the past week. They are invading my house. I cannot leave because then they will take over. And I have been furiously cleaning, putting bleach on them, making them go away. Turns out, didn't know this about myself, absolutely can't stand having ants in my house. Kind of crazy, right? Anyway, um, they kept coming and coming. There was even like what I assumed to be ant queens in my house. Um, if you happen to like ants for some reason, and I will admit that I do like some ants, like particularly the big black ants. I think that they're quite nice because mostly they don't infest your house. In my experience, it's the little ones that are the fuckers. Um, with that in mind, there's if you do think that you like ants, maybe you shouldn't watch the rest of this video because there's some pretty graphic imagery about how I've slain the ants. Um, so it started out with I woke up in the morning and the ants were all over my front door on the inside. Like they were just covering the fucking front door. Like the door was a different fucking color. I don't know why. Kind of crazy, right? And it wasn't like I left any food out. I have, experienced having ants before where I've left food out and I just take the food away and then they go away like normal. That's a normal experience for me. This time they were just invading the house because I don't know. I guess maybe they got kicked out. They got exiled by the ant clan leader. I have no idea. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I guess I'm dealing with this. I also had friends staying over at the time, so they saw me get to freak out about the ants for like the entire day, which was great. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just use bleach and I'll clean everything super entirely. Like, and I did it really thoroughly, and it was like, I mean, it was kind of good that everything was clean at the end of it. I was like, okay, well, there was ants and that sucked, but now everything's clean, so that's cool. So then I woke up the next day, and then there was more ants. Turns out, pretty cool. Then that day they were in the kitchen, and they were in the living room with the AC unit, which is behind me. They were just crawling out of the AC unit. That's so cool. Turns out there's just a huge gap for the AC unit. So it's essentially like there's this crack that leads to the outside right below the AC unit. Super cool. Anyway, so there were ants crawling out of it. And it got hot at one point, and I tried to turn on the AC unit, and just ants were just flying out of the thing. Um, at that point, I was still on the clean everything grind, so I ended up cleaning the entire kitchen and the walls and everything nearby the AC unit. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, everything's taken care of after I cleaned everything and I killed all the ants and there weren't any ants left. And then at a certain point, I started taking a piece of packing tape and putting it on top of the ants and peeling it off, and they would get stuck to the packing tape, and then I would throw the packing tape away with the ants in it, and then I would put the ants in the dumpster. That was what I did for 2 days, and then the next day there were no ants, and I was like, oh, okay, good, yeah, the ant problem's over. Meanwhile, all my friends are still here. They're staying at my house, so it's like we're like hanging out and having a good time in between me like having a mental breakdown about there being ants in the house just covering the entire place and me like having ants crawl on me and stuff. And my guests, yeah, that seems great. Anyway, so so there was one day no ants. It was great. I was like, oh yeah, great, it's over. And then the next day no ants again, except for we come back from dinner like late at night and I noticed there are ants in the fucking bathroom. There's no food in the bathroom. Like, at all. And I just cleaned the bathroom. So, like, what? Anyway, so, that was cool. And then I started cleaning the bathroom because I'm like, well, gotta get rid of the ants. So I just took bleach and I just, like, started, like, throwing it everywhere. They were all bunched up in a big corner at one point. And I just was like, well, it's the bathroom. And there's tile on the floor. I'll just throw bleach on the floor, and it was like the ants were getting burned to death by the bleach, which was kind of satisfying at this point because turns out I hate ants like a lot. Like I condone ant murder, not a problem at all. Anyway, so I even found what seemed to be an ant queen in the fucking bathroom, which I didn't expect to find. I was aware of like the hierarchy of ants and like how they function as a colony, and there's an ant queen that gives birth to all the ants, right? And normally the queen would be like in a safe place, I guess, like in the middle of the colony where like it could be protected. So I ended up squishing the queen ant, which I was like, I guess they're just trying to move in, like actually just move in. And I was like, okay, that feels like a decisive victory now that the queen is dead. I didn't at the time know how many queens I was dealing with. Later in the night, I noticed a particularly large ant crawling around in a different room, and turns out it was another queen. I'm still assuming this. I don't know why else it would be a particularly larger ant that looks like a queen that would be surrounded by the worker ants wouldn't be the queen. So that's the story I'm going with. Anyway, so I'd killed 2 queens at this point, and I was like, okay, well, it feels like I'm making progress at least because I know for sure that the queens are the thing that I'm actually trying to eliminate ideally because that's the basis of the colony. I don't know if they can make new queens. I mean, that would suck and kind of put a damper on my plans. But and then turns out I found another queen in my bedroom as I was about to go to bed because I didn't expect them to be in the bedroom and I didn't really notice much in there. But then I had like a whole pile of clothes on the floor because I hadn't done laundry in a while, and I picked up some clothes off the floor, and I noticed a couple of ants scurrying around underneath there, and I'm like, wow, that's great. There's ants in the bedroom. That really makes me feel great. If there's ants crawling on me at night, that'd be awesome. Luckily, ants don't seem to really like to crawl on fabric very much, which is like maybe the most fantastic thing in the world, honestly. That's a very big silver lining for me. Anyway, so I found another colony and on the windowsill in my bedroom, and I I cleaned everything and I killed a queen again. I saw it and it died by my own hand. I slew her. So I was like, okay, 3 colonies. How many more ant colonies could there really even be, like in the house, like at one time, like because this is all happening all at once for some reason. And I was like, well, okay, this feels like the final battle, like a decisive victory against all of ant kind. Like there's maybe no more ants in the entire world, because turns out they're all in my house for some reason. So go to bed after taking a long shower, because I seem to be developing a problem where I like have it feels like there's ants crawling on me when there isn't, because they keep crawling on me when they are, and then when they're not, I just have like these phantom ants crawling on me because of my brain. Anyway, what even happened after that? Oh yeah, the next day there were even more ants, like a lot of them, tons of them. It was like there were 3 more colonies. There were more in the bedroom. There were more from the AC unit. And they were crawling all over the room, like on top of the walls and shit. And by this point, I had lost my fucking mind. I'm like, cleaning is kind of a lot of work, to be honest with you. Like, and cleaning so thoroughly, like the ceilings and walls and AC units and shit. Like, it's like kind of like a lot. So I didn't even know what to do. Like, I ended up going to the hardware store and getting ant bait because a friend of mine suggested that. Turns out ants have been the only thing I've been talking about for a whole week, so they people started just giving me advice generally because they happen to know things about ants, I guess. And so I went and got ant bait. It's got like borax in it, and it's like sugar, and then like they eat the sugar, and then like they carry the poison back to the colony, and then like feed it to the queen or whatever, and then the queen dies, and then it's over. And it seems to be like a neurotoxin because when I fed it to them, they were like writhing in agony, like it was crazy. But at this point, I don't care. I want them to suffer because I've just lost it. Like it's not really their fault, right? They're just trying to find a home, but unfortunately, They picked the wrong guy to fuck with. At this point, I believe in an ant god, and that the ant god is punishing me. So, I don't know how many. I've never seen this many ants in my entire life. It's kind of crazy. Luckily, none of them have gotten into the food, like the pantry and stuff. Like, all of that's fine. I checked all of it. But I essentially ended up poisoning 3 separate colonies of them yesterday, and with like these little like they're like huts or something with like a sugar syrup thing in the middle with poison. They're like specific traps. Then in the kitchen there seemed to be more and more, and the one trap they were like immune to it or something. I don't know, or like there just wasn't enough of it to like actually take out the colony, or maybe there's more than one colony. I don't know. So all of today I've been like monitoring them. I moved all the other traps from the other locations that I put them in, and I put them all in the kitchen, and it didn't kill them. They seemed to be uninterested in the traps that had already killed ants. I don't know if there's like a pheromone or something that the ants give off when they die, and then the ants become afraid of death of the other ants, or if the different colonies give off different scents, and then the ants could sense that, and they didn't want to impede on their territory or something. I have no idea. Anyway, so I went back to the store and I bought more ant poison, except this time it's a liquid, and I just like poured it on the fuckers. I just poured it straight on them, like where they're coming from, like where they're walking to. You know, I am uncomfortable with ants being in the house generally. And the thing about poisoning the ants is you kind of have to let them, like, sit there and just eat it. Which means that, like, they're there. And if you look at them, they're, like, there. And I hate that. Because I'm pretty worried about them getting in the food. Like, I really, really don't want that. So, yeah. Anyway, so I just poisoned the ants. I've spent, like, $15 on this already, which is honestly $15 more than I should have spent on it. The thing is that it should be property management's problem, I'm pretty sure, because it's not my fucking fault for leaving food out or anything, because they're not even going after the food, they're just like exploring the fucking house for some reason and trying to make a home here. So, but the thing about getting property management involved is like, we could put in like a work order ticket, but like, what, are they going to come the next day? Maybe. And even if they do, I don't want the ants just like running rampant for an entire day while the people come the next day. Like, that's crazy. And every single day I'm convincing myself that this is going to be a problem that's going to be solved after I do the thing for the day. So I don't even know. I'm crazy. I've lost my mind completely. It feels like ants are crawling out of my eyeballs, and in my nose, and in my ears, and all over my body at all times, unless I'm currently taking a shower. So, I'm probably going to develop a skin condition because of it. If this is the last you ever hear from me, it's the ants, they ate me. I've been eaten by ants. Send help. If you have any ant-related tips, please leave them in the comments. I would love to hear them. Thank you. That is all for today. Stay tuned for another ant update, or back to your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you.